If you want the simplest signal that AI isn't a software trend anymore, Foxconn is putting humanoid robots on a real production line in Houston to help assemble NVIDIA's GB300 AI servers. Not a demo, not a lab, a factory line.
And they're doing it with a modern pipeline. Simulation plus on-site iteration using NVIDIA's Isaac Sim. That's the shift. AI isn't just writing text, it's starting to move atoms.
Today, we're connecting the dots. Physical automation, enterprise agentic workflows, the CapEx arms race, and what regulators are doing while all of that accelerates. Let's start with that Foxconn pilot. The headline detail is almost intentionally modest, fewer than 10 humanoids. But the business implication is huge. Foxconn is testing whether humanoids can reliably do repetitive microtasks, like part transfer, and screw fastening on an AI server line.
Right. The tasks listed, part transfer, screw fastening, materials handling, are exactly what you pick for a first deployment because they're structured and measurable. And the Isaac Sim detail matters because it tells you how they're trying to shorten the iteration loop, train policies in simulation, then adjust in the actual factory.
Also, look at what they're building. NVIDIA GB300 AI servers. This is the AI builds AI flywheel. You deploy robots to build the hardware that runs the models that train the robots.
And you can see the constraints in the quotes too. No firm timeline for more complex manipulation. That's honest. But even a small pilot changes how every operations leader thinks. If a humanoid can do 5% of tasks this year, you plan for 15% next year, and you reorganize workflows around that trajectory.
Quick sidebar. We're also seeing claims, still mostly secondary reporting, that companies like UBTech want industrial humanoid manufacturing capacity in the 10,000 units per year range with partners like Siemens Software. Even if you discount the exact number, the intent is clear: scale.
And scaling robots isn't just build more units. It's build the data flywheel. Deployments create data. Data improves models. Improved models expand task coverage. Task coverage increases demand for deployments.
Now zoom out. Why does this all feel like it's speeding up? Money. The AI infrastructure layer is consolidating into mega rounds. One funding analysis tracking May 2025 through April 2026 counted 25 disclosed infrastructure rounds, totaling about $10.6 billion, with a median round size of $200 million.
And that same analysis pointed out concentration. The top deal alone, N-Scale's Series C at $2 billion, was nearly 1/5 of all tracked capital. That's basically investors saying, we're not placing small bets, we're underwriting capacity.
Exactly. When capital pools that aggressively, it changes pricing and availability of compute. It also pressures enterprises. If your competitor has access to cheaper inference or better deployment tooling, your AI roadmap becomes a survival plan.
There's also a practical implementation detail. More compute doesn't automatically become business value. Organizations need governance, auditability, and integration, which is why agentic workflow automation is showing up everywhere as a theme.
Let's talk enterprise reality. The hype has shifted from copilots to agents, systems that execute multi-step workflows. But the winning versions aren't the flashiest. They're the ones that are auditable and measurable.
One April write-up framed it as policy-driven steps, evidence first generation, targeted human escalation, and audit-ready observability. Translate that. The agent can't just act. It has to leave a trail.
And here's the uncomfortable piece. Workforce impact is no longer theoretical. A widely shared LinkedIn post claimed around 78 to 80,000 IT layoffs in Q1 2026, with roughly half linked directly or indirectly to AI adoption and workflow optimization. Even if the precise attribution is debatable, leaders are using AI as the story for cost takeout.
Which means for individuals watching this, you need to be on the design and supervise automation side of the line. If your job is mostly moving information between systems, agents are coming for that workflow.
And for executives, if you deploy agents without governance, you risk outages, compliance issues, and reputational hits. If you don't deploy agents at all, you risk losing on cost and speed. That's the vice.
Regulation isn't waiting. The European Commission's official AI Act timeline makes the phasing real. Prohibited AI practices and AI literacy obligations started applying in February 2025, and obligations for general-purpose AI models became applicable in August 2025.
And the big cliff, full applicability in August 2026. So if you sell into Europe, your compliance work has to be underway now, especially if you're deploying anything that could be considered high risk, or you're building on top of GPAI models.
On the US side, there's also a wave of enforcement-style pressure. Commentary like AI Policy Desk's April Roundup argues regulators are focusing on deceptive AI marketing claims and undisclosed automation. That pushes companies to document capabilities, add disclosures, and align product claims with evidence.
In practice, every enterprise AI leader should have a model and system inventory, a claims checklist, and a human review policy for automated decisions. If you can't explain your system, you can't defend it. Before we wrap, a totally different domain where AI shows up quietly: longevity biotech. Rubedo Life Sciences posted preliminary Phase 1 results for a compound they describe as targeting pathological senescent cells, the zombie cells narrative you've probably heard.
Their candidate, RLS-1396, is described as a GPX4 modulator, and the company says the Phase 1 study met its primary endpoint for safety and tolerability and showed early signals across biomarkers and clinical measures, including reported target engagement and histologic changes after a month of topical dosing.
Here's why this matters for our AI audience. AI-driven drug discovery platforms are compressing the time from hypothesis to clinical test. The question is whether that compression translates into real therapies, and longevity is one of the most capital-attractive testbeds for that.
And it's also a reminder, the most important AI business wins may be in verticals like biotech, where a model's output connects to measurable biological outcomes.
Rapid fire. One infrastructure funding tracker says the median AI infrastructure round is now $200 million. The small checks era is fading.
Rapid fire. The Foxconn pilot shows the simulation to factory workflow is now mainstream enough to be a press line detail, not a research paper.
Rapid fire. If you operate in Europe, the AI Acts phase deadlines are not abstract. GPAI obligations have already started, and August 2026 is the big milestone. That's the breakdown for today. The stories are moving fast, but the playbook for staying ahead doesn't change.
If any of this hit close to home for your industry or your role, the newsletter goes deeper every week. Link in the description.
We're Marcus Reed and Sarah Chen. This is your AI future. Subscribe if you want to keep up, and we'll see you tomorrow.